out your fiduciary duty in bringing the city to the place where it needs to be to protect its interest while continuing to understand how to grow the city. And so we offer the technical and legal expertise behind those kinds of contracts, but we also have to offer the experience of what that interaction looks like when you're dealing with developers. And the final part I would say there is we also understand that you as policymaking body are going to carry forward quality of life issues as you're growing, and you're growing rapidly. And we've dealt with those kinds of quality of life issues from the policy side too, in crafting smart regulations around rental licensing or smart regulations around code enforcement and those sorts of things. And we would offer that kind of expertise as you deal with those very real issues that exist in the neighborhoods that you represent, particularly as you're a growing community and understanding how all those things fit together. So those are the 3 points I wanted to emphasize tonight. We would just absolutely be thrilled to be a part of your team to represent you as your legal counsel, and we appreciate the opportunity tonight. And I'll turn things back over to Ryan Dake now.
Thanks, Joe. The slide that you have in front of you here talks about just the general areas of municipal expertise that we think we bring to bear or would bring to bear for the City of Gardner. I'd be happy to cover any or all of these and talk about every one of these subjects. But you know, I think it's important to note that being a city attorney, it's hard. It's a very difficult thing to do as a lawyer, and the reason that I'll tell you that is, it's been my experience. I've been city attorney for Westwood for 5 years, and worked with city attorneys from just about every large city within the state of Kansas over the entire 15 years of my career. Is in essence, you are the general counsel of a corporation, first off. So you have to be able to handle all of the transactions that are associated with that. Then lay on top of that a whole nother set of laws, particularly in the state of Kansas, that apply only and exclusively to municipalities, which is an extremely vast area of law that, quite frankly, I'm still learning to this day, despite the fact that I have practiced in this area for about 15 years. It's a very complex area of the law, and it takes quite a bit of time to come to master it. Hopefully what McEnany would bring to bear is, you're looking at standing here about over 50 years of experience in municipal law and in municipal law practice. We cover all of these different areas of expertise, from what I would call just really the basic meat and potatoes of being a city attorney. Issues such as city government organization, structure, functions, meaning who has authority to do what entity doesn't have authority under multiple different structures of government. Obviously in Kansas, there are different forms of government. You've got a city or a city administrator in this form of government. The city administrator has different authority under Kansas state law than, say, a mayor-council format. We've dealt with every type of function of government, and even created new functions of government or new structures of government in the case of the unified government that have never been seen before. We were instrumental in drafting the statutes that created that and got that legislation passed by the state of Kansas to create a very unique municipal government entity. Exercise of home rule authority. Home rule authority is a very difficult issue that we have dealt with time and again at our firm, and that I have dealt with time and again. It is a unique law to the state of Kansas. There is no other state in the entire United States that has a home rule authority like Kansas has. There's a very involved area of the law with quite a bit of case law that's been developed over the years that quite frankly takes quite a bit of time to get familiar with. I could go down all of these: planning and zoning, development law. Let me just say that what we would propose to do and how we would handle the work, and I think the way that you framed your RFP, is that there would be a primary individual who would be responsible for the handling of the work. We have proposed that I would be that individual, and that Joe Reardon would be secondary, obviously bringing the resources to bear of the rest of our practice group. I think that I could go over all of these, but from my own experience. I've had experience and dealt with all of these topics as city attorney, as special counsel, when projects have gotten too big for different municipalities, and they've hired me or they've hired our firm. So, you know, we really think that our experience in the area of Kansas municipal law, quite frankly, is fairly unsurpassed, and we're pretty proud of our experience. With that, you know, I think if there's any questions or anything else that any of you have, I'd be happy to try to answer any of that.
Mr. Denk, thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. I am looking at your portfolio of experience with regard to Kansas municipalities and school districts, and this seems pretty impressive, especially with the ranges of cities that you have done legal work for. It does show the city of Gardner as being one of those cities. To what extent was your involvement with the city?
Yeah, we currently represent the city of Gardner and have for a number of years, I think going back 10 years, on workers' compensation matters. We represent them through a pooled risk through CARET, and so the city of Gardner, you know, I think we went back and looked, and there was 10 or 15 claims that have been litigated over the years. There were some active claims, and you are currently a client of the firm.
Okay. And I also saw that you represented Gardner Edgerton Unified School District 231. And I wanted to ask to what extent that you were serving as legal counsel for USD 231.
You know, I'll defer to Daryl because he's more from our education law practice group. He might be able to answer that question.
I think we handled a special education matter for them in terms of an insurance carrier. They asked us to do that. My partner, Greg Goheen, I think, was actually involved in that. And we typically do that with school districts across the state. I've gone to Goddard, Kansas to represent them in Emporia as well, because of the expertise that we bring. So that would be the nature of our representation.
Have you also done work for the Kansas Organization of Municipal School Boards? Or
KSB?
Yes.
We've served as their counsel when they've had conflicts. They've asked us to come in and represent them as well. But my main involvement with KSB is they invite me in to do their seminars. A lot of what I do is I like to teach, and so I come in and give businesses, school districts, municipalities strategies and things to avoid ever having to go to court or to need a lawyer, and we do that as part of our proactive approach to representing our clients.
Okay. We do have a pretty intricate relationship here in Gardner between the city. Obviously, we have two cities that are within the school district of USD 231. We have ourselves and we have the city of Edgerton. And we have seen some potential issues in the past of our relationship between ourselves and the USD 231 organization. Would you be able to help us with that relationship, and in what ways would you see that happening?
I think in two ways. What you have here is you have unparalleled access, I should say, credentials in terms of municipal law with what is behind me. And I dare say that you'll find few attorneys with the experience of school law that we have in our firm, going back to the person that hired me, Jim Goheen. I've been a school lawyer for about 23 years, and we have good reputations, good relationships with other school districts. And what we do in our firm is we frequently get together to talk about issues so that we can better serve the clients. And so if you were to present a case where there's a conflict or there's some issues that needed to be addressed, what you would get, although you wouldn't see it always on your bill, is that Ryan would come down and talk with me or talk with Greg, and you would get the benefit of the knowledge of the firm. And for us, don't want to be immodest, but we think that is our strength. It's because we carry to the table a depth of knowledge that we don't think can be matched in too many firms in this area of the country, not just the state of Kansas.
And to answer your question, I think maybe a little bit more directly, you were talking about the conflict of interest issue. USD 231 is not an ongoing client of the firm. We've handled obviously a special matter for them in the past. That representation is no longer ongoing, so there would be no conflict of interest in representing the city of Gardner's interest in whatever transactions that transpired.
Okay. And there's one last question I have, and then I'll let you go off. Let the other councilmen talk. And that is, how long have you been practicing municipal law in terms of serving as the city attorney for a municipality?
I've acted as the city attorney for the city of Westwood for 5 years, but the entire time that I've been practicing, which has been 15 years, has been exclusively in the venue